Yeah, so I'm from Harbor Creek, Pennsylvania, outside Erie, Pennsylvania, a semi-small town city in Northwest Pennsylvania. I lived there my whole life. My father and his father before him lived there their whole life. So it's kind of been a lineage there. Grew up out in Harbor Creek, kind of out in the country, and moved into the city to go to Cathedral Prep here with T.O. We won some state titles there, and we had some success in the field, and eventually got the opportunity to go to Notre Dame. I played my first 4 years, and thanks to COVID-19, I get a fifth year now. So I've been fortunate enough to play in all the games there. Actually, going this year to break the all-time game record at Notre Dame, beating 61. So I've been really fortunate, kind of capitalize on all my game opportunities and keep playing some middle linebacker for the Fighting Irish.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. You kind of been able to kind of embrace your role at Notre Dame. I think you kind of do it really well, kind of the hard-nosed work ethic that you've kind of had all your kind of your life. How do you think that kind of made you kind of want to choose Notre Dame? Because Notre Dame, you might think of like the student, the smart person, but kind of when you think of Notre Dame football, you kind of think of the hard-nosed, like power football. Kind of what made you want to kind of commit and decide? You had pretty much anywhere you could have gone to across the country practically. What made you want to go to Notre Dame?
Yeah, so when you're coming out of high school, you really don't know anything. And I was just fortunate enough to be surrounded by a lot of good people who kind of encouraged me to make the good decision. My parents, Coach Mishler, Coach Cray, those guys kind of were like, this is a big opportunity. It's good. And you always kind of hear how Notre Dame's different. And for people on the outside of that, it's kind of hard to understand. But Notre Dame, if you come in and you let Notre Dame change you, you're going to be a better person on the other side. It's very difficult academically and athletically, and the combination of those two together is a very hard thing to do. But once you make it through it, it's really grows you as a person, and it makes you a better overall player too.
Awesome stuff. Do you think how would you say the, being able to kind of you're a student athlete, you probably have gone, probably outside of Stanford a little bit. You guys are kind of like the top of the cream, whether it comes to athletics and academics. How do you are able to manage that at such a kind of a high level? Because like at the Ivy League, the football side of things is not quite as rigorous, and you guys are a top five, top 10 program in the country. How are you able to kind of manage for all the student athletes out there, able to manage it at kind of the highest level?
Yeah, there's so many different levels to what you're talking about, but first and foremost, it talks to being surrounded by good people. So you need people who are going to encourage you to make the hard decisions and, support you through those hard decisions. So choosing the hard major, choosing, to stay extra in the weight room. But that support is meaningless without, good time management skills. And so one of the things once you come in here that you really have to learn is how am I going to manage my time most effectively? And, when you're young, especially, you wake up in the morning and your day is about booked until 8 o'clock at night. And then you do your homework and go to sleep, and you wake up and you do the same thing again. So it's being able to be consistent in your approach and being able to be consistent in that time management, which it's easy to say now, but we just had a bunch of mid-years, 20 plus mid-years come in right now. And I'm seeing it in their eyes, the same thing that I was 4 years ago, how hard and challenging it is. So it is a very difficult thing, but it's like you don't come in with it. You have people teach you, and it's learned over time.
Yeah, so you were kind of a mid-year out of high school. You graduated early, kind of left Cathedral Prep early. How was that transition go in and start your career, not necessarily your career, but start your school early and kind of get the ball rolling with football? How are you able to be that successful that quickly?
It's the mid-year process is very intense and very difficult. It's such a hard transition because when guys come in the summer, they start with one or two classes. They have more free time in the day. It's totally separate from what these mid guys feel when they're taking 5, 6 classes with workouts first thing in the morning, and then you're tired all day having to do those things. So it's really just what I was talking about earlier, being able to be focused and intentional with what you do And it's basically that accumulation of all those difficult decisions gets you to a point where you're able to, get on the field. And because most of the time it's trust, which is what gets you on the field early in your career, trust from your coaches that you're going to do what you're supposed to do. And a lot of times that comes from making small, easy decisions over and over again the right way. And so when coaches are able to see that, that's going to, give you more freedom to play on the field.
Awesome. That's pretty sweet stuff. You talked a little bit about how Notre Dame's kind of changed you. What are the good ways that kind of Notre Dame's kind of changed you as you kind of, coming in? We're all kind of like out of high school, we're kind of all kind of crazy, immature, like, all this other things that, we think, we're all the man, coming out of high school. We're practically our best player, except for me, because I had freaking 4 people who were way better than I was on my team, on our team.
Notre Dame is the most humbling place that I've been a part of. Everything you do, basically, there's someone who's better than you, and it's pretty significant sometimes. So in the classroom, you're humbled by how smart and motivated these individuals are on the field. They're just some people who are freaks who are able to do things that I can't do. And, you just kind of learn that, you're kind of confident in high school. You're the man. But at Notre Dame, I learned how to be, a leader that's not, the main man on the field. That's not the most talented, but always was trying to be the hardest worker or the most trusted person out there. So those are the type of things that you do, Notre Dame has just shown me, because I've been fortunate enough to play a lot of football, but I've only started one game in 50 plus games. So it's just kind of learning how to humble yourself and how to, kind of be where your feet are, keep your head down, and keep working towards this goal. And eventually, once that opportunity presents itself, step up and be successful.